What's up? What's up? What is up? It's another Friday, another opportunity to be a part of the recording of the Ball Hog Sports Talk. It's an experience like none other. It's where sports, business, and entertainment collide. As you can see, we have a guest co-host here today. I'm going to introduce him right after the intro. You know how we do it. But we going to do it even more rough, rugged, and raw today because we got a guest co-host in the building. I'm asking everybody, make sure that you like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anyone that you know. Please subscribe, but also make sure that you pull up a nice, comfortable seat. Pour you a nice, tall mug of coffee. Spike it with whatever you want because the Ball Hog Sports Talk is coming to you. You don't want to miss this. A guest co-host, you'll know who he is on the other side of the intro. Let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. Yes. What up, y'all? You know what it is, man. We are in the building with Sports Business Entertainment Collide. This is one of those opportunities that I have by having this platform to really experience something that is exciting. And that is we have a guest co-host in the building. You see the Big Flow Show is not here. You know, the Big Flow Show is normally here with his big old head. That's right. I'm talking about him because he's out and about, I think, on a boat right now, living that good old lifestyle. He's here with his big old head, arguing with me about everything. Today, I found somebody younger, and I'm comfortable enough to say much better looking and probably smarter to be the guest co-host. Y'all make sure y'all tell Big Flow Show I said this about him. But most importantly, man, a phenomenal young man. His name is Michael Young Jr., and I'll do just a quick background before I let him tell you a little bit more, and then we're going to hop in. But Michael Young Jr. is also a receiver. So you got two receivers up here today, baby. They call us some divas. They say we good looking, so we're going to do it together today. You know what I'm saying? That's how we going to do it. That's how the divas do it, us receivers. But he is a young man who, after going to playing for the University of Notre Dame, doing a phenomenal job there, getting on the field and doing some tremendous things there, both on the field and in the classroom, he transferred. So he is a resource like no other when it comes to the transfer portal. For those of us who follow us regularly, you know that we always are talking about the transfer portal. So he's going to give us some insights into that. But also a really phenomenal young man, got his degree from Notre Dame. He did, I think the major was there, film, television, film, television, and theater major at Notre Dame. After graduating, then decided to transfer to the University of Cincinnati, where he played 2 seasons there for the University of Cincinnati. Went and played in NFL for both the Colts and the Texans. He has a budding broadcasting career now that he's going to get into and do some phenomenal things. But most important for us, Ball Hog Sports Talk community, for those who are regulars and come into the lab to hear us record this thing, he is our guest co-host today. So with no further ado, boys and girls, dogs and frogs, cats and rats, we introduce you to Mr. Michael Young Jr., our co-host, guest co-host for today. What's up, my brother?
What's up, my man? First of all, that's an amazing intro. Secondly, man, I'm grateful for you having me on and getting a chance to do this. Talk ball, talk life, kind of talk everything in between, man. It's a
Yeah.
blessing. It's an honor to be on here. So I'm glad that you had me on here, man.
Man, I'm honored that you made the time, man. And so today's episode is going by the title of Monumental Moments.
Right.
And we were introduced by someone who is a television veteran, Miss
Yeah.
Ann Thompson of NBC. She's out there enjoying herself in the Olympics in Paris,
Yeah.
and yet found the time right before she flew out to connect us. So it says something about her appreciation of you. It says something about that Notre Dame community, but it also says something about our title, Monumental Moments. And since we have been introduced, we've had just this interesting roller coaster of getting to know one another. I think you're an amazing young brother, man. And so thank you for making time to be here today.
No problem.
And look, man, our community knows, man, like receivers run the world, baby. We run the world, right? Like it is what it is, man. We always the sharpest dress. We always, know what to say to somebody when interviewed. You know what I'm talking about? We got the best touchdown dances. The big boys, when they get in the end zone, it just looks sloppy. But we get there, we know what to do, right? They say act like you've been there before. Well, I want to act the same way every time.
Right.
The spotlight is on me. So, this is a perfect duo. Perfect duo for the title.
Oh, yeah.
Monumental Moments. So I'm going to give one from my Notre Dame days. And then I'd love to pivot and talk about, because I'll be honest, sometimes I frown upon the transfer portal. And I frown upon it because back when I was in school, I had to walk 1,000 miles uphill both ways. I'm an old man. I'm an old cranky man. So I guess I'm just mad that I didn't have the opportunity to transfer. But I also understand that it creates some leverage for the player. So I want to get your take on it. I'm going to start off and break the ice.
Okay.
For me, so at the end of the show, I'll say this thing. I'll give all my nicknames. I might as well do it. We are here today with our guest co-host, Michael Young Jr., and I am your regular host, your boy, B. Brown ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy, a.k.a. the Councilman. There's one of those nicknames in there, Mr. Excessive Celebration, that takes me back to my days at Notre Dame. And I call myself that because I unfortunately got an excessive celebration penalty when I was playing against Michigan, that school out there. I'm gonna have fun with that when we get to the end of the show. So I don't really like Michigan because in the big house, what I like to call just a place that we go and take care of business, they call it the big house. I got this penalty and I got flagged for excessive celebration. We go on to lose the game, and I was immediately thrust in this position as a 21-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
Young man, not kid.
Mm-hmm.
I could drink. I guess I was a man. I was a 21-year-old young man thrust in this position where Notre Dame, when things are going well, it's great because all of these TV channels are tuned into us every week at NBC, baby. They know who you are.
Yeah.
Being a household name at Notre Dame's a beautiful thing when it's going right. But I was immediately thrust into this position where I was considered a pariah. No one wanted to be around me at Notre Dame. They blamed me for losing this game against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I got death threat letters from these crazy fanatical fans. And I do believe, I'm a spiritual man, God put you in position. They'll never give you more than you can handle. I feel as though I was put in that position to show people how to handle that adversity. Monumental moments. It let me see the relationship between player, fan, and all that is in between.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, I decided to spin it. I do a lot of events. I throw parties. Well, the event company, my entertainment company, goes by Excessive Celebration Entertainment. I have a lot of nicknames, as you can see. One of those nicknames is Mr. Excessive Celebration. So you either run from it or own it. That was my monumental moment at Notre Dame. For you, having transferred,
Yeah,
I've never heard the story. Just so everybody knows, we definitely do, little pre-show communications. But I purposely like, I don't want to hear it. This is my first time hearing it. I need to hear about your monumental moment that got you to the point where you decided after graduating, salute, to transfer to University of Cincinnati. And I'll tell the fans that, Notre Dame ended up playing Cincinnati again and you got off. You did your thing, right? So you got some get back. But I need to hear about that monumental moment. What was the trigger? Yeah. How did your family play a role? And then as you look at the transfer portal now, and it is either embraced a lot by people who are taking advantage of it and improving their roster, or is vilified by the fans who feel as though every year you gotta recruit your own roster. You gotta re-recruit your own roster. So with that, man, I throw it to you. I need to hear about your monumental moment that led you to transferring. Give us as much as you can.
All right. So where do we start? I got you. All right. So initially, and I'll say this, growing up, I've always been huge into sports, right? And I've always followed like every draft process and the players. And so growing up, I was a huge fan of RG3. This is how I was going to relate to this. I was a huge fan of RG3. And I remember on YouTube, they posted his entire pro day. And I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but they posted his entire pro day from Baylor. And I remember watching it because I just wanted to watch the receivers because he had some really good receivers the year he came out. I think a couple first round guys. So I was like, I just want to see his receivers. But before, as they were getting ready to, go through the throwing session of the pro day, they were just raving about RG3, right? They were like, oh, he graduated in 3 years. He was a political science major, all this stuff. So I just heard how much praise that he was getting for doing so well academically off the field. Mm-hmm. Fast forward.
That in itself is a monumental moment. RG3, if you're out there, if you ever hear this episode of the Ball Hog Sports Talk, just know, man, you don't know who you're influencing by just living a stellar life. But go ahead. Go ahead.
So I going to Notre Dame, I never forget this. I always told myself, and it's funny because I never shared it with my parents. It was always just me. I always said, I want to go to Notre Dame. I want to major in a broadcasting major. If they had one, I want to major in that. I want to graduate in 3 years because I want to go to the NFL. Mm-hmm. We all playing footballs, going to Notre Dame, any big school. You always say, I want to go to the league.
Absolutely.
I don't care about school. I'm trying to get to the league.
Get to the league. That's our end goal. End goal is a play under the shield, baby. Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. So for me, it was like, okay, so this is my plan. I'm going to get to Notre Dame. I'm going to try to graduate in 3 years, have my degree, get to the league. That way, when I'm done, like once I get to the league, there is no coming back and finishing. Like I'm certain, like I'm good. So
I'm gonna do this now. I gotta graduate early so I can go enjoy my NFL life.
Yeah,
so absolutely.
That was my plan. And I remember I sat in the academic advisor's office. My boy Kenny. If Kenny, you still there, man? What's up? But I sat in his office, and I think it was one of our first meetings. And this is like summer. This is when you first get there. And he asked me, he was like, what do you want out of Notre Dame? And I was like, everything that they, that they pitched to me and everything that I know it to be. So, I want to get immersed in the Notre Dame culture. I want to, excel on and off the field. And I was like, and most importantly, I was like, obviously I want to get to the league, but I want to graduate in 3 years. He just looked at me. He was like, you're at Notre Dame, right? And I was like, your point? And he was like, the track that we have guys on, they graduate in 3.5, and that's hard enough because it's Notre Dame. And I was like, well, I'm not everybody. Like, you probably get that a lot. Like, all athletes saying
all the time. Absolutely.
I'm not the the majority, but it's like truly I meant that. Like, I'm not everybody. I don't know who's been here before me. I mean, I know who's been here before me, but their story and my story is completely different. Like, I can care less. So this is what I want. And he was like, you sure this is what you want? And I'm like, I'm dead serious. Like,
right.
I'm not joking. And so he was like, well, you got to go through these freshman requirements first before you kind of can get moving. And I was like, all right, cool. That's fine. Put me in
Let's
every
do it.
class possible, like, you know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
can
Let's
further
do it.
check along. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. So that's what we did. And so um freshman year got in there and I played. And I think for me, one of my biggest goals was get on the field my freshman year.
Yep. Now
Which I
you
was
were you also were a kick returner in addition to a wide receiver. So
correct.
you got to both play special teams and get an opportunity to play offensively. I remember when Ann Thompson connected us, I remember the name. Like, oh yeah, I remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you played freshman year and at Notre Dame, just to set the stage for y'all, that's a big deal
Yeah.
to get on the field as a freshman. Go ahead.
So I appreciate it. So yeah, so my biggest thing was get on the field freshman year, right? There was a process for me. I'm so goal oriented and I'm still that way to this day. So for me, it was like, all right, get on the field in any capacity, get on the field. Once I show them I'm on the field and I'm capable of handling the small tasks they may give me or whatever the case may be, then I know my role will expand.
Absolutely.
So like that was the plan. It was like, okay, get on the field early, show them that I can play. And then once I get that experience, it's like, all right, let the floodgates open. Now let's make things happen. Let's, make the big plays. Let's do all these things to help the team win. And as far as myself, achieve the goals that I set out for myself. So I got on the field. The big plays didn't come, but I still got on the field. And
you got on the field. That in itself is monumental, but I hear you. You got on the field.
So
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna make sure I share this with a lot of my players that I coach now, because in this generation, they feel like the first play that they get on the field has to be the 80-yard touchdown, but you took it in steps. Get on the field, and I will earn more reps.
Yeah.
Awesome approach. But go ahead.
So that happened. And then I stopped playing. And it was like I was questioning. I'm like, why am I not playing? Like, is this something I'm doing at practice? Is this something I'm doing? And it was just the coaches really didn't have an answer for me. So that kind of started like the way.
Early, even your freshman year, you're like, okay, well, if you don't have an answer for me.
This is the first time I'm really seeing like politics in sports, I guess that they say. This is the first time that you see like, oh, okay. Well, all right. And at first I was upset, but at the same time, I just thought Tommy Reese, then I used to talk to Coach Reese, and he always tell me like freshmen just got to pay their dues. You know how we are. We're competitors. So I'm like,
nah, what you mean I paid my dues. I've been working out to like all summer to get this opportunity. I paid my dues. What you talking about? I get you. And look, this is where sports, business, and entertainment collide, right? And so, Michael is saying that the politics, which I'll even describe as the business of it.
Yeah.
Right? Pay your dues, because essentially there's this business end of it where even if some of the other players don't necessarily, from a meritocracy standpoint, deserve the opportunity, they get it. And we call it politics. But go ahead.
So, me, like I said, we're competitive. So I'm like, pay my dues. What was all that work I just put in for me to get on the field?
Right.
It was game of the season. Like, where that work went? You know what I mean? And like, what have I done to this point to diminish my playing time? So I was kind of frustrated with that. And Coach Polian, the special teams coach at the time, he really had a favor for me, and I appreciate him, because when I was playing on offense, he was just like, I went to him, I was like, man, I need to get on the field. And he was like, all right, cool. Like, all right, we'll put you on, we'll make you a gunner on punt.
Wow.
You may not get obviously the starting reps, but you'll get some reps if need be. Like,
so you had lunchbox mentality. Like, I'll bring my lunchbox, let me work, put me on the field. I don't care where it is. I just want to help.
Yeah.
Respect.
And then he had me on, and I'm 5'10", $180 at the time, but he had me on front line, on punt return, like hold up, like blocking. So
you really paying your dues at this point.
Yes, but I just told him, I was like, man, just give me opportunity, like, because I don't know why I'm not playing. Like, I don't even know why I'm not even getting a chance on offense anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if it's a rep or two a game, like, why am I not even getting that opportunity anymore? So I was like, man, look, I want to get on the field. Like, I already burned my red shirt, because that's before they implemented the red shirt rule.
Right.
I had played the first 3 games of the season.
So
So
that
it
means
was
you
like,
cannot preserve that year eligibility. For those who don't understand what a red shirt is, that means that if you play less than a certain amount of time, you keep that year. But it was back in our day, and your day is much more recent than mine, but
yeah,
it used to be associated with the first, I think it was first 3 games, first four
first few
games,
games,
whatever it is.
yeah.
So you burned your red shirt.
So I
Got it.
burned my red shirt because I played offense and special teams the first few games of my freshman year.
So that year of eligibility is officially used.
Yeah, so so that kind of started it. And then, you go into the off season and sophomore year, and I'm like, all right, like I'm feeling good. I'm battling out for the starting job. At some points I'm starting to, depending on the day or whatever
Right,
the case may
right.
be. So I'm just like, all right, cool. Like this is where I want to be, And
Yeah.
and then season comes, I get like I pick up a little injury for the season. And it takes me a while to rehab. And so the other guys, they go and they start, and kudos to them because they're amazing players. So I was just like, all right, cool. Well, I was in battle for the starting job. So at least when like I get healthy, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be in the rotation.
I'm
I'll
being in
play. Right,
rotation.
right.
Did not happen. And so I was like livid.
Yeah.
But I'm not expressing it. It's very much internal, but I'm
Right.
just kind of annoyed. And so
Who are you talking? I'm gonna let you get your story, but who are you talking to during those days? Right, because you're
uh,
living inside, but it's coming out. You're calling it home. Because I did the same thing. Sort of happened to me my sophomore year, and they put me on scout team my sophomore year. I remember like I'm keeping it together in the locker room because you can't let your teammates see you get emotional and soft.
right,
But I
right.
went home and cried like a baby. I called my mama. I was like, "Mama, you can't. These dudes trying to put me on scout team today, right?" So who is your foundation at that point? You're struggling. You're livid. You're internalizing it, but you're going home and talking to someone, or is it really just literally you're struggling with it yourself?
Really, I was struggling with it myself.
Mm.
That's just how I was raised. Like my dad, that's how and I'm pretty sure it's like my dad's born in 66. So like,
Oh yeah. Old school.
so it's very like internalized, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, you a man,
Which,
get
which
over it.
which makes it even more painful. Yeah.
Like, man, you a man, you'll find your way, get over it. Like
Right.
kind
Right.
of thing. And
So
like,
you're going through all of that on your own, and then what? So that's sophomore year.
yeah, so that's sophomore year. So sophomore year, I get a little more of a role. I make a couple splash plays here and there, depending on the situation, whether it's in special teams, offense, whatever the case may be. So junior year comes around, I had a great spring, had a great off season. A week before the first game of the season, break my collarbone in one on
Oh,
ones, in one on ones,
oh,
and so now I'm sitting here like,
that's almost impossible. For those who don't understand, like that almost never happens. You don't get hurt in one-on-ones. No one's tackling, right? I'm gonna score on you. I'm gonna point at you. We're gonna laugh, but no one's normally hitting the ground unless your feet get tangled up
and
or.
we're gonna keep it pushing, yeah.
But you don't normally get hurt in one-on-ones. Oh,
And
that's terrible. All right, so you
and
break your collarbone.
break my collarbone. And so like that point, I think was like the breaking point for me. Cause you know how it is as a receiver, you know how it is when you're in the system. When you get in that flow state of like maybe a few good months or whatever, where it's like at practice, you just making plays,
Yeah,
like
in the zone. You're in the zone.
you in
Yeah,
the zone, but it's like an everyday thing. It's
right.
like nobody guarding you, you making plays, you talking trash, you having fun. And
Yeah,
it's
you can say ain't nobody effing with me here. This ain't no family show. You say whatever you want.
oh, I'm trying to keep it PG, but you know how it is. It's that flow state, and like I said,
Yeah,
that carry for months. Like it went throughout the
yeah.
spring and camp, and I'm
When the
like,
ball's coming at you, you see every little piece of the leather. It's so easy to catch the ball. Yeah,
you're not even thinking about it. You
yeah.
thinking ball can be back here. You like,
I got that right.
and you know what I mean. And that's the state I was in, and then it got to a point where like you could feel and see the confidence. So now like we're in spring practices, we're in camp practices, and they're just feeding me the ball. It's me, Chase Claypool, Chris Fink, and they're just slinging it around the yard. So we just like, it's up this year. Like this is gonna
Yeah,
be our year. Break my
right,
collarbone. So now I'm like devastated because I'm like, okay, this felt like my breakout year, and now it's another setback. And
right.
so I was really, really, really hurt. But the whole time during the process, the whole like basically all the office staff is just like, We need you. We need you. We need you. We can't wait till you get back. We can't wait till you get back. And that was so different from the years prior to where it's now like I'm kind of still being skeptical about him because I didn't been in this program for 2 years and I see kind of how things are.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, they need me though. Like they're coming to after surgery. They put me in a hotel room with my family. They're coming to the hotel room and just
So they're
talk to me.
showing you love, even though that your
Love,
Notre Dame coaches are showing you love.
love. And
Right.
so I'm like, oh yeah, they need me.
But
Cool.
they smart too now. They smart. They know what to do now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Still skeptical, but I'm like, all right, cool. So I finally get back. In the first few games I get back, I think I started maybe 1 or 2 games back.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get the ball like at all. But in the back of my mind, I've had already thought about the whole off season, like
Right.
of leaving. You know what
Right.
I mean?
So this is
Regardless,
you're already on that
yeah.
notice, if you will. I put myself on notice that there's another option out there. Fair.
Yeah. And so for me, and that was the whole off season. Even though I was doing well, I was having fun, I was smiling more, I was more interactive. I'm
Yeah.
everything in the back of my mind. I'm still like, what y'all don't know is that this go left, like I'm gone.
I'm gone.
But
Right.
I'm happier now. Like I'm more content. I'm more at peace with myself and with everything that's going on. Despite how well I'm doing, I wasn't getting too high on my high horse. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the first few games I come back and like I don't get the ball like at all. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh, so we going down this path again. All right, cool. Well, I see where this is gonna go. This isn't.
And it happens to a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
so this is your account. I've got my account. When a coaching staff starts to sort of, it's like an actor. For me, it was like Menace to Society when Lorenz Tate played O-Dog, right? He played that role so well that I can't think of him in any other role than O-Dog. And
Mhm.
that's what the coaching staffs start to do. They'll typecast you as, all right, it's a guy, whatever. A guy's gonna work hard, he'll block, he'll do all the things, but we don't have to necessarily throw him the ball. And whether you want to accept it or not, when they script the game plan, their biases are in that game plan. When there's a 3rd and 8 call, they decide who is going to be in certain positions. That is happening. There's a game within the game. So they play it, and you're thinking, we're going down this path. Y'all don't know. I've got this little, sort of joker in my back pocket. Continue.
So we get to USC game, and I hate to even mention this game because some tragedy happened. So we get to USC game, and right, I'm feeling good. I'm like, oh, I see they ain't been throwing me the ball, but they said they was gonna give me the ball this
Notre
week.
Dame's big rival. For those who don't know, we hate SC and they hate us. Indy and SC do not like each other. So
At all. And so I'm like, oh man, they're gonna give me the ball this week. Like they've been, talking to me in meetings and everything like that. So I'm hyped. Man, I kid you not, opening kickoff, it gets called back. Kid you not. I kid you not. So I'm running. I try to make a cut up field. I slip. We still get to like the 20 something, like
right.
nothing crazy, but it got called back anyway for holding. So it was
Right.
coming back regardless. So first drive play out. Cool. Second drive play out. So our receiver coach at the time, he always said, regardless if we have somebody in just rotating, 3rd down, starters are in.
Right.
Starters are in. So we get to 3rd down, and I go to run on the field, and the coach like arm bars me like,
Oh, I've been in that. He hit you with I got one of them before.
Mind you, I didn't do anything prior to that point. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Blocked.
There's nothing that created that. Right.
I blocked. I ran the right routes. I didn't get the ball. Like it's, it wasn't like you've had a bad game in the first 3 minutes. Like, so he arm bars me. So I'm like, I thought you said starters in on 3rd down. So he was like, no, like let him rock. And so I'm just like,
Right.
So we convert. So I'm like, all right, cool. I go to like run back in. So he like, no. So I'm like, we're not even running no huddle. Like,
right. What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? The game within the game. The game within the game. Absolutely. So, but You're not playing. You ain't boo boo the fool. You ain't stupid. You know something's going on.
So
Continue. This is interesting. Boy, this feels very similar. Your story is my story, is everybody's story. But go ahead.
So check it out. So drive the whole field, score a touchdown. We get to the next drive. I asked the receiver coach, I'm like, man, what was that about? Like, I'm on him early because
Right.
at this point, like, now you taking away. Now I was content and I was peaceful and I kept my mouth shut, even though I, like you said, I had this joke in my back pocket. But now you playing.
I was a company man. I did it the right way.
Now you playing with me, like, what's up? So I go to him after the drive. I'm like, man, what's good? Like, I'm in next drive. Like, what's up? And he was just like, kind of hesitant, like he knew something, but he didn't want to say something.
Right.
I kept questioning him. So I was on the sideline, like, and it wasn't like an aggressive, like, nah, you need to talk to me. It was just like,
it mattered to you because you have now given 3 years of your life off season.
Yeah.
You were approaching him because it matters to you. Absolutely.
So I'm like, what's up? Like, you know, like, come on, coach. Like, what's up? Talk to me. Like, I thought we had at least a good enough relationship to at least you could tell me something.
Right.
Like, I ain't saying we the best of friends by far, but like, you could tell me something. So after a few times I asked him, he broke and he was just like, the coaching staff said they wanted somebody that can run with the ball. I don't even know what that meant.
Right. So he's speaking a different language. What does that mean? Got it.
So the guy who was behind me at the time, Braden Lindsay, track guy.
Yep. I remember him. Yep.
Literally the next possession after like the second or third play, he gets like an end around, cribs it. I'm hyped. I'm like, oh, let's go. Right. So I'm not thinking nothing of it. But because what he just told me beforehand
doesn't even make sense to you.
You know what I'm saying? Don't make sense. So I'm hyped. Braden score. He I'm let's go.
Right.
I'm excited. And then the next drive we go out. And I think the next drive, I think he had him go out there first. Like we were in a huddle. I think he was about to put him back out there. And I looked at him. And then he was like, no, Mike. So I go out there, but literally in that split second, it was just like, whoa.
Right. It all became clear.
But you know me, we're at practice.
Right.
So I see.
You know who is who before they go on the field. Because you don't get to that field without so many practice sessions, so many indies, right? Yeah. Individual sessions where you see the receivers, so many one-on-ones. You know who can do what. And yeah, you have information that fans don't know. The fans are like, oh yeah, this is the track guy. But right, the fans are like, oh, this guy was a 5-star recruit. But if you inside those practices, if you watching film, you know what you know. I understand.
So I'll just leave it at that. And so
I understand.
So I was just like, whoa, like, okay.
Like, because in your and I'm gonna set it up for you just because in your mind, because you know all of that, you're like, wait a minute, I ain't fall that I know where the pecking order is. There's no way I'm
because even in the game plan, it wasn't even supposed to be like that. Was supposed to be like that play,
a trick play. Yeah, he's a gadget play guy. So yep, nope, you good. We good.
As I'm going out on the field, that like instantly just throws me off because I'm putting it together. Mind you, we just called a play. So like I'm not even like I know the play, but like I'm not thinking because I'm just like
you're out of body experience because it hit you what just happened. Right?
Yeah, mind you, and I'm on a high because we just scored. Like I'm celebrating him, you know, but like I see the game that they're playing.
Yeah. And
so I was just like, whoa. All right. So it threw me off for the rest of the game. I didn't care for like the rest of the game. I was like, I'm just gonna play.
You're there physically, not there.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna try to help us get a win. Because at the end of the day, all I care about is winning anyway. If you play a sport, that's what you should care about.
That's all you care about as a teammate.
And so I'm like, I'm gonna just play to get us a win. Like at this point, I'm like all against the coaches or the offensive coaches at least. I'm like against them and I'm all for the team. Like that's it.
Right.
I don't care about nothing they're saying. I'm just like, look, Ian, Chase,
Right,
Chris,
you're
Tony.
helping people out because
Let's
you're a
go.
teammate. Them your brothers. Them
Yeah.
your brothers, and it's
Let's
not their decision. It's some dudes that are coaches. It's hard to describe that relationship.
yeah.
It's really hard. Like
Yeah.
y'all are part of the same staff, but at the end of the day, there's a separate and more meaningful relationship with your brothers. Still cheering for your dogs, but
Always.
absolutely, you're
Always.
feeling some type of way. Understood.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So at this point, I'm like, I'm just playing for y'all. Like, I don't care about them because they it's weird. Like that's
Right.
I don't like how that was done. And so
Right.
we get the kickoff return out of opening, out of halftime. Catch it, bounce off the first guy, parts like the Red Sea.
Yeah.
I'm running, ball just like pops, like just.
Oh man. Oh man.
I'm talking about nobody in front of me, and I'm sitting there like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're mentally somewhere else and detached.
Like that just
physical,
happened.
something happens, right?
I'm like that just happened. And I couldn't believe it. And I was in shell shock for like the rest of the game. Mind you, I'm already like, but now I feel worse because now I feel like I'm letting my team down.
Right.
At first, it wasn't me letting my team down, but now I feel like this one mistake, I've let my team down.
Your teammates, right.
So we still won the game, but at that point, I was just like, wow, I just let my team down. Like I said, I'm bummed about the coaches because they gonna feel how they feel, but like I let dudes that like I didn't laugh with, I didn't cry with, I didn't, console.
Right.
I let them down.
Right.
In that moment. So that like hit me hard. But once that situation happened with the coach, in my mind, I was just like, oh, I already see where this is about to head. I'm in my mind, I was like, I'm out. Like,
so what game? So that's midway through the season. Normally we play either USC mid game or end of the year. So that's mid game, mid season rather. So it's at Notre Dame.
That's
they won't play us at Notre Dame in November because they punks. So it's middle of the season. You're at Notre Dame. That happens. You've got the rest of the season to play, but I can only imagine what happens from there because coaches. You're talking about your era, your coaching staff. You're talking about, your school at that time, Notre Dame. But what we have seen as players over time is you can just, fill in the blank. Different player, different generation, different coaching staff, different school, same outcome. Because for the longest, they've had all the power, right? And so we've had to be pawns in their game. Let me please hear how you get to the point and how you told them that you're going to transfer. Then we'll transition to all the other stuff. But I that's the part that I never got. I had to be a part of that game, and I remained a pawn. In chess, if you advance all the way down the board, pawn, you could turn into a queen or replace one of your missing pieces.
Yeah.
In my era, we never, even if you advance all the way down the board, you never got to get that leverage because not only could you not contact other schools, if you transferred, you had to sit a year out. So give me that. The rest of the year plays out, and you decide that you're gonna find greener pastures in terms of your opportunity, right? And that's where fans, I think, get all messed up. When I say greener pastures, I'm not comparing Cincinnati to Notre Dame. I'm comparing Michael Young Jr.'s opportunity to fulfill and live out his dream as someone who's worked hard. That was your greener pasture. So give me the insights of that before we move on to some other stuff.
So literally, I think after that week, it was a bye week, and then we played Michigan. So so I go in, I think like that Sunday after the game or that Monday after the game. And I walk in the building and it's weird, like it's weird energy from everybody.
You can feel the vibe. When they turn on you, oh man, when the coaching staff turn on you, man, it's like people ain't making eye contact. People used to have special handshakes with you, walk right past you. Like I know exactly that feeling, brother.
But what's crazy? Like the players were cool with me.
Yeah.
Like,
again,
the players were cool.
That's a different relationship than
coach.
Absolutely.
The coaching staff, it was weird. It was like they were kind of cautious talking to me. It was almost like somebody tipped them off what I was coming to tell them, which is weird because I told one other guy, but he was from my boy. Here's Lawrence Keys. He was from New Orleans. So I told him, but like that was it. but like Lawrence ain't talk to the coaches like that anyway.
Right,
So it
right.
was
He
like,
ended up going to Tulane. He transferred to
yeah.
yeah,
So
yep.
I was talking to Keys about it, and like that was it. But like when I walked in the building, especially when I went upstairs, because that's where like our training table and the food and stuff at is by the coaches' offices. So when I
Hmm.
was up there, it was like I was walking past the coaches, and like it was just like this weird energy of like they knew something,
Right.
and like I kind of felt it. And in my mind, I'm like, who could have said something? Like, let me
That
tell it.
because you're a good person, that's what you probably thought that they knew. But I think that energy changes when they know that they have wronged someone, and they know that that person is smart enough to understand that the dynamic has shifted. So they might have been projecting their negative energy in
Yeah.
that moment, to be honest. But go ahead.
So I go in there and I talk to um oh man, I can't remember who I talked because I talked to a lot of coaches. I think I talked to my receiver coach first,
Hmm.
and conversation was a bunch of fluff. We'll just leave it at that. It was a bunch of fluff. He basically tried to tell me, even though I had done nothing wrong up until that kickoff,
Yeah,
literally
but
nothing wrong.
that's football, right?
Right, that's
So to
football.
me, something wrong is a DUI, right? Domestic violence. If I make a mistake playing football, right, that's just. And I told you, I tell my kids in my youth football, the only place where everybody's perfect is Instagram. We all gonna make mistakes. That's just a
Yeah.
part of football. So that's not, to me, that's not egregious. That's a football mistake. One that, because of ball security, yeah, you don't want to make, but it's football. You haven't done
Yeah.
anything wrong. You made a mistake in football.
So so he was basically telling me like, don't look at everybody else, look at yourself. And in my mind, I'm like, I've been doing enough self-reflecting. Like, it's been
Yeah,
3 years. Trust me, I've
yeah,
done enough.
right,
I know how things are run around here. I've seen you do worse to other players
right,
that were in the receiver room with us. So like, don't hit me with that.
right.
That was like the biggest like slap in the face. It's like, bro, I see how y'all move. Come on now, like don't do this. And so then I went and talked to the offense coordinator, and he basically kind of echoed the same sentiment. And I was just like, all right, like I'm not hearing y'all because y'all, all right, whatever. So I go talk to
Yep.
the big man, and I and I had to schedule a day to talk with him. I'm like, come on, all right, whatever.
You played under head coach Brian Kelly, correct?
Kelly, yeah,
My nephew played for him, and we'll leave it at that. So
yeah.
I hear exactly what you're saying, but we ain't even gotta say it. But I get it. So you had to schedule an appointment with your head coach, and then what happens?
So we get to the so then, right? So they're talking about, we're gonna practice these few days and then we're gonna let you guys go because it's the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at practice, like, like, what am I doing? Like, come
Right,
on now.
right.
And before I even, and I kid you not, we're in the stretch lines, and he never comes up to me in stretch lines ever. Like he may say, "Michael, how you doing?" Or like, "What's up, Mike?" But like that's it. He'll never just like come up to me. He'll just say it in passing.
Right,
He
right.
comes up to me in stretch lines. He's like, "We're gonna get you the ball this week. Just stay with us, stay locked in." And I'm like, "Who said something?" Like,
They know something, right? Right.
right? And so at that point, that's what made me even more enraged because it's like y'all know what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
I haven't said anything,
Right.
but y'all coming up to me trying to save face or like
Right.
trying to appease me. Not like, no, don't
Yeah.
do that. So it made me even more mad. It made me even
Right.
more like it lit a flame.
Right.
So it was like, all right, yeah, nah.
I
So
love. Yep.
we get to so fast forward, I tell him what I want to do. I was like, I want to transfer. I was like, and I've only played 3 games at this point. So I was like, I would like my red shirt. I was like, I'm
Right.
not asking for much. Like I've done everything that y'all asked me to do, and I'm not trying to hold that over y'all head because obviously y'all gifted me the opportunity to be at such a prestigious university, and I'll forever be grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. You're not being bitter. You're just
yeah,
being honest with
businessman.
yourself,
I'm trying to
and
be a businessman now.
absolutely.
So I'm like, I graduate this summer. I was like, look, put me on scout team for the rest of the year. If that's possible, I'll go give the defense a great look. You know, I'm gonna transfer. I'm letting you know now. And I think like that'll, that's that. Like, and I would like my red shirt. because I'm like, I'm not gonna play. And so at first he was like all for it, and it was too good to be true. So we go home for like 3 days, come back, and before I go home, he tells me, "Hey, you know, okay, I'm 100% with you. Whatever you want to do, let's do it, because you've done good by us. So
right. You've
and
done
we're in
everything
the
right.
situation.
You've been stellar in the classroom. You haven't been
Yeah,
a problem in the locker room. You, when asked to make plays, you've gone out there and given your best shot to make plays.
yeah. So he does that, and then I'm like, all right, cool. But my mind is already made up. So, but mind you, now if he would have said, like we'll compromise with something else, then like I would have been for it too. And
Right.
and so I we leave, we come back, and when we come back, total 180. He was like, well, if you get in the transfer portal, you forfeit your scholarship, which means you can't graduate. And, Notre Dame's obviously very expensive. And, I don't want to do that to you because you're so close to graduation. It was like, or you can voluntarily quit. And that's still, you'll forfeit your scholarship, but you'll get your red shirt that you're looking for.
Oh, man. Complete 180.
Yeah, he was like, or you could finish out the rest of the season, because I'm a firm believer, and you finish what you start, which I am too.
Right.
I am too.
But you got this red shirt thing that is impacting why you're trying to make the decision now. We're not just randomly saying we're going to quit. We got the red shirt.
Exactly.
Aspect of it.
So
absolutely.
We get to that, and then
these coaches do want to pee on your leg and make you think it's raining. Yeah. They don't piss on your leg and tell you it's raining. And that's all coaches. I ain't singling nobody out. Like, that's the power structure of college football. Yeah. Go ahead.
And so me and him, and it wasn't like an argument. It was just like a good discussion. Like, nah, because I had consulted with other people. Like, I didn't go into this decision blind. Like, I didn't just go in demanding stuff. Like, I consulted with the right people.
Right.
And so we just kind of went back and forth. And then he just kind of wasn't budging. And I was just like, whoa, like, all right. I told him, I was like, man, I'll be on scout team for the rest of the year. I'll give you defense a good look. Like, I'll work for my stay. You know what I mean?
Just don't put me in the game.
Yeah. And then he was just like, nah, I can't put a starter on scout team. People are going to start asking questions. And I'm like, dude, I've seen you do it countless times already. Like, don't lie to me, but whatever.
Right. There's several guys who were starting at some point that are now scout team. Absolutely.
But like, you got it. And so like, I go downstairs because we had practice that day. I go downstairs, and then like an hour later, calls me back up to his office and was just like, all right, look, this is what I'm gonna do for you. He was like, I'm gonna dismiss you from the team. And when he said that like broke my heart, because I'm like, no, don't do that.
Right. Because now that puts a badge of dishonor on you. Dismissal, no one's gonna hear this side of it. They're gonna think automatically he must have done something wrong.
So he was like, I'm gonna dismiss you from the team. He was like, but I'm gonna give you your red shirt. I'm gonna sign off on your scholarship in the spring, because in the summer you only need one more class left. So like, you could just cover that one class in the summer. But I'll sign off on scholarship in the spring, so you ain't gotta pay for none of your classes and stuff in the spring. And he was like, and I'll let you walk. And I was like, let me get that in writing. But I tried to go back on him with the, let me be on scout team. Let me help the team.
Right.
And he was like, nah, I just can't do that. I can't do that. Because they'll be setting up a bad precedent for
other guys.
And he was like,
the situation,
right? And he told me, he was like, don't tell nobody else this. He was like, but I'm only doing this for you, because you've done the right things. You've been a good person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could tip my hat out to Coach Kelly for that. But
the dismissal part was the part that you felt was the biggest blow to.
Yeah.
Because if someone has done everything right, dismissal is just like, it's like a dishonorable discharge in the military, right? It's like,
and I knew the narratives that was gonna come from it.
Right.
Like, I remember my girlfriend at the time. And I never really get mad. I'm always how my dad raised me. I just internalize everything. So even though I'm hurting on the inside, I'll still smile. Right. I'll still have a conversation with you. So I remember, so that happened, and then obviously he dismissed me from the team. So like, I'm kind of upset because my core values were kind of ripped up into shreds. Because
they were compromised for the sake of whatever agenda they had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you said, we all grew up, and it's my dad always raised me. You always finish what you start. So my thing
Right.
was like, okay, well, let me help the team. Let me finish
Right.
something. Like,
Right.
don't just dismiss me. And now it looks like I'm just a quitter
Right.
because I never been that. I'll never
Right.
be that. So like
Right.
that was like the biggest thing. So I dealt with that for like a good month or so of like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a quitter. This person, I'm that person,
Right.
and like
Fans are calling you this at that point.
even though I tried my hardest, you know what I mean?
Students, because you guys have social media, so
Yeah.
you're seeing it on Twitter, you're seeing it on social media, you're hearing it whispers that aren't so quiet
Hmm.
around campus.
Hmm.
And that same feeling when you walk into a class, you see people doing this, you're going through all of that.
Yeah.
Obviously you were able to be triumphant.
Yeah.
You went to the University of Cincinnati.
Hmm.
I think you torching Notre Dame when you came back had to be feel had. Before we move on, just give me that feeling, and then I'm gonna ask her that feeling quickly, and then I want to know like just the yes or no answer to do you think the transfer portal and as it stands now is a good thing? But give me the feeling back at
Hmm.
Notre Dame's campus. You come back as the person who was dismissed. Feels like the Bob Marley song, right? You know the I can't think
Yeah.
of the actual name of the song, but you're the one that everyone threw away.
Yeah.
You get to come back to Notre Dame's campus.
Yeah.
This time you've got the power, and you make most of it. How
Yeah.
did that feel?
It felt good. It was business though. Like that's what people don't understand. And I said it. I think in a whole bunch of interviews that I had to do that week because that week is obviously huge for so many reasons. Um, it was business for me. Like that was like the first week when I was at Cincinnati where it was like no smiles, no laughs. I
Right.
was straight like at practice, like business. Like nobody talked to me, no nothing. And it wasn't even, I would say, a personal thing. It was more so like I know how much this means for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Forget me, forget my own personal vendettas, like because I don't really have any. So it was like I know how much this can mean for the team, how much this can mean for the conference that we're in, how much this can mean for our at the time our playoff implications. So for me, I was like, I'm all business. The fact that it
Right.
was Notre Dame, it was just like
Icing on the cake.
icing
Yeah.
on the cake. It could
Yeah.
have been anybody, but
Right.
so for me, it was all business. So once I
That's
stepped in
what's
that
up.
stadium, I had no smile on my face, no smirk, no nothing. Like I'm like, I just want to win,
Yeah.
and win we got. So
When you got that propelled Cincinnati into a whole different
yeah,
realm for
yeah,
college football and the coach at that time as well. So shout out to that team and your head coach there.
yeah.
And then I'll ask this, man, simply. Then we'll hop into a few topics
Got to.
for the current event topics. But when you think of transfer portal and you think of how you were able to navigate it, going to Cincinnati, having an amazing experience and a playoff run there, and you reconcile it with all of the stuff we deal with as college athletes.
Mhm.
My man's on here today. My man Shelton Jordan from Opelousas, Louisiana.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So who also he's my classmate and transferred from Notre Dame. Just a simple response. Like, do you think the transfer portal and sort of providing a balance to the leverage, do you think it's a good thing for college football or college sports in general, and the athletes that now have more leverage and power themselves?
That's a loaded question. But see, what you said at the end, like I think it's good because it gives that. Like now, coaches, you can't really fluff no more. You could try to,
Right,
but the minute a kid gets wind of, okay, they might be playing with me, then it's like, all right, I'll just go somewhere where I know I can be appreciated.
right,
But also too, I think now you look at it as the NFL now, and it's always been this way, but the NFL now, you get drafted from anywhere. So I
yeah,
think the transfer portal is great in that aspect because, right, I went from Notre Dame, which is considered, even though we're independent Power Five,
right, right,
to Cincinnati, who's non-Power Five, but yet they had top 25 finishes before I got there. You know what I
right,
mean?
right, right,
And it's like, and a lot of people from my class alone in that draft class from Cincinnati got drafted. So it's like, yes, because you can find an opportunity elsewhere where you don't have to go to this big P5 school, or you can go to a big P5 school and you can still have success. I just say no at the end of the day because it gives an easy cop out. Like for me, I never thought about transferring until like it became apparent that I may need to.
Right.
Me, it was I'm gonna stick here until the wheels fall off.
They got freshmen transferring because they didn't get in the first game, or because they didn't get the number that they had promised them,
Like, come
or
on,
because
dude.
how dare you recruit the 5-star guy in my position in the class under me. So yes, the reasoning behind transfer, absolutely. I like that answer.
Yeah,
That might make this old cranky man feel better about it. That
yeah.
there's a balance to it, but striking that balance is the interesting thing, because there's a lot of universities now that are pushing the kids into the transfer portal, and we're gonna bring you back on another time, another show, because that's the other side of it. We think of it one-sided. When I say we, the college football world of fans, because that's what I am now. I'm a fan of college football, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get on here and talk about the transfer portal when a guy leaves, and I'm always looking at it from the perspective as the players voluntarily entering the transfer portal because something didn't go right. Now, for you, I think that was well thought out. You did 3 years. You did the right things on the field and in the classroom academically. You were never a problem. And to hear what you were proposed to go and play on the scout team to preserve your red shirt, but also preserve your dream of getting an opportunity to go to the NFL, salute to you, right? I have issues with the guys that are going in there for the most random, meaningless, like I can't stand that, right? Because I get it at my level on youth football.
Yeah.
It's people changing teams like they changing underwear because something didn't go absolutely right. I got an issue with that.
Yeah.
But the part that I don't, as a fan of of college football, Freudian slip, called it NFL, as a fan of college football, the part that I need to get more well-versed on, and the part that I need to also highlight when we're having these discussions, is there's a whole bunch of people in the transfer portal who never wanted to be there. They were thrust into the transfer portal by the university. And so what was set up as something that would create more balance in the struggle for leverage between athlete and university is actually, in aspects, giving the university even more power.
Yeah.
But I'm going to bring you back. We're going to have that conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
But as two receivers, man, how dare we not? As two receivers, we good looking. You know how we do it, baby. Good. You know what I mean? Throw us the ball, baby. Let's get in this end zone. We got a little dance that we've been practicing all week. You know what I'm talking about? I got a little dance I've been practicing all week. How dare I not let America see it? You feel me? How could we not talk about this week? Because it has just amazed me when you look at his numbers. CeeDee Lamb is doing what you and I are doing. He at the crib. He's not in camp. He's a holdout. If you look at his numbers from last year, and I had to pull him up because I couldn't believe it. He was first in targets, first in receptions, second in yards, and he is third only because Mike Evans and Tyreek Hill are tied for first. He was third in TDs. Now, I knew CeeDee Lamb Justin Jefferson had some injuries. So I give those stats, understanding that there were some injuries. But I didn't know CeeDee Lamb had that type of production. That receiver with those numbers is sitting at home because his owner, Jerry Jones, in his words, simply said, the CeeDee Lamb, after not reporting to training camp, that re-signing CeeDee Lamb is not an urgent thing for him. You hear that and you think what? Put up those kind of numbers last year. Here's the time to get paid. CeeDee Lamb's at the crib, dog. Right? Where are we at when it comes to CeeDee Lamb and the Dallas Cowboys when you think of this guy with that level of productivity sitting at home, hopefully watching the Ball Hog Sports Talk? Check us out, CD. Make sure you tune in, dog.
For sure.
What do you think about that when you look at his productivity?
I think it's laughable, right? Like if you look at Dallas offense, he's the number one option on a really good offense.
Yeah.
And you see the paying rate for these receivers now. You mentioned Justin Jefferson, he just got paid. You mentioned AJ Brown got paid. Jalen Waddle got paid. St. Brown got paid. The list goes on. Like, so for you to sit there and see the number one option on your offense who put up historic numbers for your franchise, by the way, broken records for your franchise.
Yep.
And you sit there saying it's not an urgent matter to get the deal done. The longer he waits, the more expensive he gets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Justin Jefferson set the market. He got 4 years for $140 million, $110 million guaranteed. Just spell your name right.
Yeah.
And $35 million a year, which makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. So the market has been set. I agree with you. The longer he waits, the more expensive it's going to be. My man Scott Bibb. What's up, Scott Bibb, our resident Cowgirls fan? Every group, every podcast got at least one Cowgirls fan. Always. He is ours. Always. And he even says it. Joe Biden. I mean Jerry Jones. Because Jerry Jones does seem with some of his decision making, maybe we need to have a similar, somebody put their arm around him and usher him out, because it seems as though this has passed him by. He's not, CeeDee Lamb ain't getting cheaper. So why play chicken with CeeDee Lamb? It is just interesting, right, that would happen. And as Scott Bibb points out, CeeDee Lamb, because he's home, took to Twitter after the interview, which Jerry Jones said is not urgent, and literally hit him with an LOL. And he gonna be laughing to the bank. It might not be when he wants it to be, but with those historic numbers, he gonna get paid. And somehow, some way, we still calling this doggone team with this too old, senile, bad businessman as an owner. He's the model of nepotism. Somehow, we still calling that America's team. How about them Cowgirls? I detest the Cowboys. My big brother's a Cowboy fan. I love everything about him except that. But somehow, some way, they still called America's team, and because they are, they've allowed us to get to the next topic. And this next topic, man, simple and plain, it's amazing that it happened. To be honest with you, I'm tripping out that it happened, but it happened. We watched it yesterday. We watched USA basketball take on the world. And I say they took on the world because they were down 17 points at one point. Mm-hmm. I'm getting all these text messages from, we all got these group chats, that we talk sports. What's up to my homeboys? We got this one group chat. We call it the Thotty Sports, because they just be jumping teams. But I'm getting my phone's blowing up. And they talk about, man, these dudes about to lose. Father Time passed them by. Then all of a sudden, something happened. Now, I didn't watch the game, but you did. Mm-hmm. And tell me about, in this episode of Monumental Moments, what changed the game for USA basketball yesterday?
I think that starting unit with the addition of KD, because normally KD comes off the bench. I think that 3 plus the foul that he got, I believe, I want to say the 7-minute mark, 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter kind of started the run.
Right.
He hit the 3. Jokic fouled AD, so they got the ball back. I've never seen that rule in basketball ever, but I'm glad it was implemented.
It is funny watching the USA basketball because they got FIBA rules. So I'm looking at it. It feels so different. But
it's weird.
Yeah, we get the ball back, and then somebody, I don't remember who, Devin Booker hits a 3.
So then Devin Booker hits the 3 off the inbound, so it cuts the 12-point lead to 6
within a short amount of time. So that was the monumental moment.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, what I would say is down the stretch now, because I tuned in very late, and they had cut the lead. We, right? America's team, the real America's team that's over there in the Olympics. That's our America's team, you cowgirls. But the real America's team, I get to the end and I'm watching the game and I'm tripping because even my wife comments, she's like, man, I didn't realize that LeBron had that much gray hair.
Yeah.
And you just think about the years of experience of the guys that Steve Kerr himself was an older coach, has on the floor all of the vets. I'm talking about steeped in being a vet, players on the court. It said something about where we are in terms of finishing the job. Yeah. Right? Because I mean, and you had commented on this before, how the bench had been the spark plug throughout these Olympics, right? And even in the warm-up rounds, whatever they call that, they had been a spark plug. But not yesterday. It said something about the experience and how it matters. It also said something about, in this episode of Monumental Moments, because Steph Curry had a crazy stat line. Second most ever point total in all of USA basketball history, only behind the legend who was in the building, Carmelo Anthony. I think he scored 36 right behind Carmelo's 37. But he said something after the game that I thought was just amazing, which helped us, you and I, create this topic today.
Right.
He said, I knew I'd never get another chance for this moment. Because he is going to be too old when the next Olympics comes. Yeah. He hasn't played in the Olympics before this. And he would not be denied. I thought Steve Kerr made some amazing decisions down the stretch. One of them decisions, though, is the Finals MVP still didn't play. What do you think is about Tatum that's not working with this lineup, man? He didn't play. He's a DNP again.
I think that's a discussion for Kerr. It's hard for me, as you know, we're football players, but you know, I'm a fan of all sports, but I would say it's hard for me to critique necessarily. I don't know if that game was a fit for him in his play style. I don't know personally, but I can see how it could have been of benefit. Yeah, I see you boys say Serbia is no joke. They're not, but I can see how he could have been a benefit, but he also could have been a hindrance. I see it at the same time. So like, I can't speak too much to it because
Jason Tatum fans, Celtics fans are up in
always.
Oh, they upset. They just like, you know, but and we talked about it from a football standpoint. Sometimes, you know, and like we talk about fights, personalities make fights, right? And I think when it comes to international basketball, there's certain coaches, and this has been well documented. I think when this team, if they are able to win in the gold medal match, when their story is told, I think there's going to be something there about the relationship or lack thereof between Steve Kerr and Jason Tatum.
It'll happen.
Because it coming off the bench is one thing.
Right.
Restricted minutes is one thing. Right? Like playing a certain role is one thing. But
not playing.
Did not play again. And it's hard to play that many players. So I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. But Jason Tatum is considered on this side of the pond one of the best players in this league. And he did not play again.
Right.
I think there's going to be a storyline there. I'm looking forward to hearing whatever they're going to end up settling on, what we're going to call this team. They win the gold. Obviously, there will be a documentary like all of the teams. I think there's going to be a storyline there. And Celtics fans are up in a roar right now. I wanted to say this because with Steve Kerr making that decision, with Steph Curry saying basically he knew he'd never get that moment again, it reminds me of a wise old man once said, we do not remember days. We remember moments. You talk about your moment of Braden Lindsay going in. I'll talk about my moment of people giving me death threats. We remember moments. And so in this episode of Monumental Moments, knowing that they made that shot and kept the ball, that seemed like a monumental moment. But I think there was a moment before the Olympics that set us up for this. When Noah Lyles went out there and said, basically mocked the idea that Jason Tatum's championship in the NBA and everybody else's championship is referred to as a world championship. How are you a world champion? I think that was a monumental moment for inspiring this group to show that they are indeed the best in the world.
Yeah.
So I know we've all been mad at Noah Lyles for saying it, but I think that was a monumental moment for them. And you think about this year's NBA draft. First 2 picks are from France, right? You got Risa Shea, I think I said that right, and you got Alex Sarr. Top 2 picks are from France. You look at the MVPs over the last several years have been internationally born players, right? You look at the growing number of non-U.S. born players that are taking up spots in the NBA. And so while we all got mad at Noah Lyles, it was a monumental moment for this USA basketball team. I think it gave them exactly what they needed, what was a carrot that was dangled and some motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And after the NBA draft showed the first 2 picks being from France, and after what we're a year and a half into what is the Wemby experience, and he's considered a shoe-in Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get to see on Saturday USA play France. I'm gonna be locked in, dog. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go, USA. Let's go, USA. It should be fun. I mentioned Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles did the unthinkable with a whole bunch of those USA basketball players in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And he won the 100-meter dash. No one gave him credit, and no one thought he could do it. He did it. He won the 100-meter dash, and everybody just assumed, I did, that he would win the 200. Because prior to these Olympics, he had not lost a single heat of the 200 since Tokyo. Noah Lyles, I think everybody knows now, I was going to say spoiler alert, but we all know, did not win the 200. In fact, he came in 3rd behind one of his own teammates, who's had a great Olympics, and behind Tobogo from Botswana. Shout out to Tobogo, the first gold for his nation, the first Olympic gold for his nation. The man will never have to work again. Shout out to you, man. He ain't gonna never have to work again. Monumental moment for him.
Yeah.
So shout out to him, to give him his credit. But with Noah Lyles getting the bronze, I thought that would be the story. The truth of the matter is, right, because he would have been the first person to double in the 1 and the 2 since 1984 when Carl Lewis did it.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be a monumental moment for him in terms of these Olympics. He was definitely going to be on front of the Wheaties box. He was definitely going to get all of the commercials. All he had to do was take advantage of what was the most likely gold of the Olympics, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He was definitely going to get a lot of attention because I just connected him to USA basketball because of that comment.
Mm-hmm.
He just had to take advantage of his moment, and he didn't do it. He gets the bronze, which is still pretty impressive considering what he divulged to the whole world as he held on his mask after the race. He divulged that he had COVID. While in one way, social media always tease things up. People say, is this his Michael Jordan flu game moment? That's impressive to get a bronze while having COVID.
Oh, for sure.
But on the other side of it, something felt weird about that because we all know that we was expecting him to win gold.
Yeah.
Do you think that he divulged it out of a strategic way of excusing gold versus bronze?
I think 2 things could be true. I think that it could be that he truly had it, which is why you saw literally it looked like he was going to pass out. And you never, those guys are so well conditioned to where after 200, those guys aren't laying on the floor like.
No, they're not.
absolutely gassed. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He
Yeah. And that
looked
didn't look fake. That didn't look staged at all.
that looked the part. That looked on par. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because he already, I think he's asthmatic as well.
He's asthmatic. He's got a bunch of things. He talked about I'm asthmatic. I got
Yeah,
depression. You can do anything. So yes,
yeah,
but he is asthmatic. So which I think COVID being asthmatic is even higher risk.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think two things could be true. The fact that it came out after the race is
He said that he didn't want to scare anyone, and divulging it before might have
yeah,
threatened whether or not he could have competed. So I guess that's more the angle. What do we think about the Olympic Committee? Because you got to remember, we didn't have a 2020 Olympics. Tokyo
exactly,
was in 2021 because of this thing called COVID.
exactly,
And so you fast forward and you have a drastic uptick across the world in COVID. And they put this man on that track knowing, because he did say that he had a positive COVID test on Tuesday. So they removed him from the Olympic Village. They
hmm
put him in a hotel, and he was in a secluded hotel. So they took all these other protocols, but yet, right? Because this is the Ball Hog Sport Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. The business was too big for them to not put him in that race, and by making that decision, putting everyone else's health at risk.
exactly.
And so I don't know if the Olympic Committee is receiving enough backlash for that. And then you see after the race, he's congratulating, being a good sports, congratulating people, hugging them, but also exposing them to COVID. And so I look, man, I'm not a healthcare provider. I ain't got no MD or none of them things like that to make me an official spokesperson. But something seemed a little risky with that. Something seemed awry. Something seemed morally corrupt. If you're going to put what was a great business opportunity, having
Yeah.
Noah Lyles be the first double since 1984 and Carl Lewis, you're going to put that over potentially spreading COVID to people that, from a health perspective, might be quite at risk by contracting it. I'll give you last word on it before we move on, man. But it seemed something seemed funny about that, especially because this same Olympic Committee seems to take the moral high road with other things.
Yeah,
Bro, that's COVID. We watched the whole pandemic happen. There are people that are still mourning the loss of their loved ones because of that same thing, COVID.
yeah.
It seemed weird. I'll give you last word on it.
No. You took the words right out of my mouth. I literally was going to say the same thing. Where is this moral grandstanding that the Olympic Committee, so-called, prides themselves on when it comes to everything else, but not COVID? Like, come on now, the world was literally put at halt for years. So,
Right.
like, I think is irresponsible. And it's really not much else to say but that. The fact that you just let him be in an arena with extremely talented individuals that are all pushing for whatever.
Right.
You don't know what can be the reaction to all of this. You don't know. You'll probably have to check within the next few weeks or a few months to just to see what could come of this. But yeah, I think it's very irresponsible, and credit to those athletes and credit to the people that gave him help. But man, got to do better.
Let's give Noah Lyles a grade. Noah Lyles went into the Olympics with aspirations of coming home with 4 gold medals. He won the one that no one thought he was going to win,
Right.
the 100. He lost the one that everyone thought he was going to win, the 200. He has said that most likely that was the last time you'll see him in the Olympics. He's not going to participate in the 4x1, most likely, because I'm assuming that at this point, now that everybody knows, how could you put him out there?
Right.
Well, I'm gonna warm up with this team with COVID.
Right.
I'm gonna warm up my relay team, with a mask on. And he was, or his people were putting it out there because he had a chance to be on that 4x4. That won't happen for sure. Let's just give it a grade. Letter of grade. Noah Lyles did the unthinkable to win the 100. Came up short in the 200. Contracted COVID. And the relays are probably off the table. He went in. If he would have came with 4 goals, he'd probably been the most decorated U.S. men's athlete, maybe right behind Carl Lewis ever. That didn't happen. So let's give him a grade. What are we going to grade? Noah Lyles, Olympic performance, A to F. You know how this works. You know, you got that degree. You know how these grades work. You can put a minus behind it if you want. What do you give him grade wise? Noah Lyles. U.S. Olympic 2024 in Paris. What's his grade?
I give him a B plus.
B plus.
You won the gold. You won literally the race. No one expected you to win. You lost your other one due to many factors, but the main one being COVID.
Yeah.
Safe to say you probably would have got at least maybe a silver, or
Yeah. Yeah. I think he get at least silver. He would have to really run a good race to
in
to
4x1. Yeah.
It's a 4x1, but also to beat Tobago.
Yeah.
Like Tobago beat him in the semis too. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go with a B minus, and I'll tell you why. Only because it's like, you get that curve on the grade. Like his curve to me is a little lower because he was the mouth of the Olympics.
Yeah.
He put the target on himself.
Yeah.
That's why the USA basketball players was at that 100-meter final. They wasn't cheering for him. They was out there on straight haterade. They wanted him to lose. A lot. You know what? I'm not gonna say that. But chances are that they would not have been totally disappointed had he come up short because he put all of them on blast. That's not a world championship. That's America. When we win, it's the world. He went all in on them. So I'm gonna give him a B minus only because he put the target on himself. But anything in terms of winning 100 and he's deemed now the fastest man in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give him too low of a grade. So, and I hope he recovers very smoothly from COVID and has great health going forward.
Yeah,
what I did also see yesterday is probably because he could have been, if that would have happened, 4 gold medals, described as the most decorated men's track athlete ever, arguably in the same vein as Carl Lewis. What I did see is somebody that can't even be denied. CeeDee McLaughlin-Levrone. This woman, I'll tell you what, this woman to me is, first of all, she's from Jersey, so I might be a little biased. I might be a little bit biased. She's from Jersey, all right? But watching her on that track is a thing of beauty. She is now in all her championships, right? Broken the world record 6 straight times. She ran a 40. She ran, I'm sorry, 40 and slip because it's coming. She ran a 50.37. This woman is about to break 50 seconds at some point. They made this big to-do about her battle with Bowl. She made Bowl look like she was walking. And Bowl didn't even get silver. She got bronze. And I don't think that they should have run Bowl in the mixed 4x4. She ran an amazing race, 47, went and hawked the American down. But by doing so, I think she gave away her legs, and it showed against in the 400-meter hurdles. CeeDee McLaughlin, you're talking about monumental moments. CeeDee McLaughlin, in her 2nd straight gold medal in the Olympics, has made the most out of all her monumental moments. She has had all of the pressure times 10 that Noah Lyles has had on him because no one expects her to lose. She has done it with such grace and such style. Now, the Levrone part, I leave that off, is the husband's name. But Sydney is poetry in motion on the track. She's always made the most of her monumental moments. So shout out to her. On a personal side, she went to Union Catholic. And that program, I'm here in New Jersey, is now looked at as like, oh man, this is the track powerhouse. Only because Sydney went there. Sometimes your monumental moment is just being in the right place at the right time. Yeah. That coach, right, got to coach an athlete who was special, phenomenal when she got there. But now that coach is looked at as the track whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he produces the athletes only because he was in the right place at the right time. Monumental moments. Her husband, the Levrone part on the hyphen, is somebody who got to her, a former football player. He's 6'2", former receiver. Receivers in the house. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, man.
And you know how we do it. We
Receivers
ain't
do it
scared
right.
of nothing. We ain't scared of nothing.
We do it right.
He got to her by sliding her DMs. That's your generation, man. So, but you talk about making the most out, making a monumental moment. He slid into her DMs, and now he is married to the most, unarguably, most decorated U.S. women's athlete, track athlete of all time. Sometimes it just takes taking a shot. Your feeling about sliding into the DMs before we move on, man. The man slid into the DMs and ended up marrying the best U.S. women's track athlete ever. I've been opposed to it. I'm thinking that it's too impersonal. But I'm tripping. That man made the most out of his moment. He married to CeeDee McLaughlin.
Yeah, you can't hate him. You can't hate him, man. Can't hate him. I might have to go put up a couple of shots myself.
Right after the show, you about to go put some shots up?
You gotta go put some shots up, man.
Some shots up, man. Make use of the moment. Monumental moment. Sydney has been amazing ever since 16. She got third in the U.S. Olympic trials when she was 16 years old. Mm-hmm. Her first appearance, that's when we were introduced to her as a country. Her first appearance in the Olympics when she was 17 years old. And she's handled it with style and grace. But because of her, right, we all started getting excited about the new phenom, Quincy Wilson, who ran for the first time in the Olympics yesterday, U.S. Olympics yesterday, at 16 years old. 16 years old makes him the youngest ever male athlete to run in the Olympics. And for the first time, because we talk about monumental moments, and this monumental moment when he went out there for the first time, Quincy Wilson looked like a 16-year-old kid. He ran the first leg, they call it scratch. He ran the scratch leg in the 4x400 relay, and his split was a 47-3. To put that in context, he handed it off basically in dead last. DFL, dead last. He handed it out, DFL basically, and they have to get top three to advance. Quincy Wilson runs a 47-3. Let's compare that to his own times in the pin relays just a few weeks ago, or right now, a month ago now. In the pin relays, he ran back-to-back splits of 44-3-7, 44-6-9.
Good Lord.
To run 3 seconds slower in the most monumental moment of his life to date shows that he finally was a 16-year-old. Let's compare his 47-3 to the rest of the relay. And he admitted it. He said, I wasn't 100% myself today. Not that he wasn't 100%. He said, I wasn't 100% myself today. I was blessed to have a good relay that brought us around and got us into the finals. Mm-hmm. They had a lot of work to do, including the anchor leg. They had to run somebody down to get the top three in advance, or we wouldn't even been in the contention mm-hmm. of winning a medal in the 4x4, which is unheard of. Quincy Wilson's 47-3 compared to his own relay teammates. The second leg ran a 43.6. It's almost 4 seconds faster. In track, that is quite the distance. Now, the second leg is normally the fastest leg because they get to break in the stagger.
Right.
But 43.6. The third leg ran a 44.2. The fourth leg ran a 44.05. I love the CeeDee McLaughlin story when she first got on the national stage at 16 and then ran in the Olympics at 17. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love the Quincy Wilson story where he runs these splits and pin relays, gets through the trials, and gets a chance to run in the Olympics at 16 years old. But I think what we saw in that moment is a 16-year-old being vulnerable in this monumental moment And I hope this doesn't, from a confidence standpoint, throw him off. Probably won't. He's a phenomenal athlete. But at 16, I think it says something about the psyche around all them grown-ups, them grown men, in front of the entire world. A 16-year-old finally acted like he was 16.
That's the
You know,
thing.
that
That's
is
16-year-old finally acting like he's 16. What were you doing at 16? I know what I was doing. I was trying to take my mom car to get some McDonald's. Like,
you and me both. You and me both. Yeah, you and me
so
both. I definitely was not running in front of the whole world, and the people that I was running in front of weren't so critical of everything that I did. So shout out to Quincy Wilson, man. I
yeah,
hope that this doesn't put in any doubt in his own mind, and he goes on to be a great, 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 great U.S. men's track athlete. But I felt bad for him. I really did, man, because the spotlight is just on him. Everybody's been calling for him. People said he should have been in the mixed 4x4 relay. People just, we want Quincy. We want Quincy. And I found myself feeling bad for him. I'll give you last word before we move on, man. One more topic before we get out of here. It's got to be the medal count. I'll give you last word on Quincy before we move on.
I mean, like you said, man, he's 16 years old. Like, that's the thing. I don't think it would necessarily break him. I think if anything, it'll motivate him because now he has that taste of experience, right? He has, how we in our field, all he needed was the opportunity and all he needed was the platform.
Right.
He got it now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now he's been there. Now he's seasoned.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now the only thing you can expect is just greatness from him. I don't want to put too much of an expectation on it because in today's society, we have and I think fans in general, but even media, whatever the case, we do a very bad job of like putting people up on this super high pedestal just so we can tear them down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be caught doing that. But I think the expectation for him should be high just because, bro, you're 16 at the Olympics. Like, just think about that.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to him, man.
Yeah,
shout out Quincy. Shout out the real America's team, baby. We got your back. We cheering for you, Quincy. Sure. We America's team, not like them cowgirls. Shout out to Quincy Wilson, man. And I hope we do get a chance. We probably won't get a chance to see him again in these Olympics, but they're probably not gonna put him in another round. But he'll be back. This will not be the last we hear of Quincy Wilson. Medal count in terms of U.S. Olympics. Medal count. Where does it stand right this second? I'm gonna try to pull it up. I know it's very fluid. I know China was right neck to neck with us. Overall, we got the most medals. And depending on who you ask, it's like, what something just happened?
We're losing the medal count.
China's got more now.
They picked up 2 more golds.
So it's 32 to 30 then.
Yeah.
Ah, man. There is no doubt. Because the medal count, whether you believe it or not, has it's like this arm wrestling thing amongst nations. The Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide, right? There's something suggestive about if a nation is able to go to the Olympics with investing in their training and the facilities and win the medal count, there's something to that. Mm-hmm. Now, the Olympic Committee also there's the sort of the geopolitical aspects of it. Russia has been shunned. They're the pariah because of some of their horrendous behavior globally, right? You've got there are all these other storylines, but China being now ahead of the U.S., we got some catching up to do. But it does say something about where you are as a country, where the finances are. U.S. Olympic track is saving us. So let's hope that continues to happen. Yeah. Overall medal count, we're winning, but I want to just focus on the goal. I don't know, right? Man. The overall, I think that's that's a lazy way to look at it. Like, depending on who the media outlet is, some people focusing on the total count where it's a landslide. The U.S. is ahead of everybody. I like the media outlets that focus on the goal. Like let's just look at goal. It says something about the goal.
I have because lately I've been seeing this thing like the Americans say this one-sided beef with Australia, for whatever
Okay.
reason.
Yes, yes. One-sided beef. I like that.
Uh, but it's
Like
funny
me
because
deciding today I'm gonna send a diss track to Kendrick. It's gonna be one-sided. Kendrick not gonna entertain me, right?
right. It's like I'm sitting there and I'm looking at both talking points, right? Like I'm getting from the Australian viewpoint, American viewpoint, and the one thing that like it gets me is yes, the Americans, we from our media outlets, we count by total medals.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that. But then everyone else in the world counts by gold. And I
Mm-hmm.
get that. But what's to be said about the people that get silver and bronze? Well, that's not an accomplishment. I guarantee you right now, if I got a bronze, if I got the bronze that Noah Lyles got yesterday in the 200, if I got the bronze, will I be disappointed I didn't get gold? Yes, because I'm a competitor and I'm an athlete, but you can't tell me nothing about me coming home with bronze.
You top 3 in the world. In
Top
the
three.
world, dog. In the world. Fair. Very fair.
So,
Very fair.
so
Right?
it's like
You get to hold your flag and you get to walk around the track.
you're on the
Very
podium.
fair.
You made the podium.
You made the podium.
How
Very
many people
fair.
can say they made the podium? So that's where for me it's like, yes, I understand, we want to have the most gold. Duh. We get that. But at the end of the day, like there's something to be said for those silver and bronze medalists. Like that's a lot of hard work that they put in just to get on the podium. So for me, I kind of lean total medals
Yeah. Fair.
because
That makes
like I
sense
said,
because it
those
recognizes all the other great. Those are great achievements. Now,
yeah,
the only issue I'll take with you, if the USA basketball had lost yesterday and played for the bronze, that would have been a complete epic fail. That's the only one. That's the only bronze I wouldn't have been cool with.
that's the only way. That's the only one I would have. I probably wouldn't have watched the Olympics
Right,
for
we
the
didn't
rest of
count. I
my.
was like, bronze -1. We ain't counting now. We ain't giving
Yeah,
y'all that.
nah,
But they figured it out, man.
yeah.
Let's go home with this, man, because I always do a ball hog spotlight moment. You know what it is, those who watch us and listen to the podcast regularly. The ball hog spotlight moment is I got the ball, middle of the court, lights on me. We need a shot. We down by 1, and I ain't passing the ball. Like Kobe said, man, sometimes I just trust my damn self more. I got to get this shot off. What topic am I going with? My man, Michael Young Jr. and I agree in our hate for that doggone team out there in Ann Arbor. I hate me some Michigan, so I'm going home with this topic. I'm going home with your boy, who is, I think, one of the biggest crooks ever. Yes, he's a national champion. Yes, he's won on every level. But I think he's cheating, y'all. It is John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is now in a situation as of this week, as a 4-year shoulder cause order. The NCAA has made it such that if John Harbaugh decided to go back to college, there is a 4-year show cause order. Anybody that wants to hire him has to show cause. They got to sit down in front of the committee and be analyzed just to go interview this man. Anybody that hires him has to live with the fact that for the first year, he'd be suspended for 100% of the games. So it's suffice to say that ain't nobody going to hire John Harbaugh until at least 2028 to be in college football. And he tries to just talk it down. It's no big deal. I'll be happy for the day when college sports focuses on the student athletes. You cheated, man. There was some impropriety there, man. Own it, dog. And then I can finally tell all my Michigan fans, I had told you so. But John Harbaugh, show the cause order 4 years. I just found that funny. Michael Young Jr., if you will, man, I just wanted to say thank you to you for being our guest co-host while we missed the Big Flow show. It was good to be in the room with another receiver, man, and feel all of that doggone confidence that we have, bravado. But I think you're going to have a phenomenal career, whatever you decide to do in broadcasting. I'll let you say goodbye to our audience before we take it home. Your final words. But before you do, I just wanted to say thank you, my brother. The floor is yours.
Man, I appreciate you. To the audience, man, thank you guys for tuning in. You got a great show. You got a great host. I'm sure this probably won't be the last time you guys see me or hear of me. Hopefully.
Oh, no, you got to come back, dog. Got to come back. Got to come back. Did a great job.
But I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. It's it's been a lot for me, especially over these last few months. Because I've been moving. So it's nice to sit down, be able to talk ball, talk life, talk motives, talk everything under the sun, and getting to share the flow with you, because you didn't have to do this. You know what I mean? We got connected. You reached out to me, and we kind of got the ball rolling. And so I appreciate you more than anything.
All good,
Appreciate
brother.
everybody that tuned in. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's the best sports talk show. Might as
It
well.
is, baby.
Might as well. Come on now.
Yeah, it is. That's how we do it, man. And I will say, only thing I disagree with is I did have to do it because the monumental moments in my life were largely provided to me by someone who gave me an opportunity. And we talked about the brotherhood that you, despite your issues with the coaches, that never eroded. To this day, those guys are still your friends, and now you can officially count plus one. When I say have to do it, because of how I was raised, because of that brother, because of the code, it's the least that I could do. I will absolutely have you back on the show, man. Can't wait to have you back. Let us know how you can help. We can help. For all you guys, from a social media standpoint, Michael Young, what any social media stuff where they can go follow you and support you. I don't know if you use Instagram, Twitter, any of that stuff. Can you give us your handles? Or if you go under the radar, some people don't do it. You're under the radar?
Yeah, man. Long story short, I was in the Texas locker room. I'll never forget this. It was after practice. We had a little bit downtime, and this real woman hit me. And I've always kind of been like not really care for social media, but you shower after practice. Duh, you stink.
Right.
So when we got downtime, so I remember I sat in my locker, and the first thing I did was grab my phone. I ran to Instagram and Twitter, and I'm probably 5 minutes deep. I haven't looked up, and I look up, and probably like 80% of the locker room are all just like on their phones and stuff like that. And that was like the moment. It was like that clicked for me, and I was like, I got to get off this. Like,
Yeah,
I
good for
got to
you.
get off this. So I got off it.
Good for you.
Funny-
Monumental moments. You learn how to preserve a lot of time, my brother, and not be
yeah,
caught in the mire of all the trash that is down there in social media. So good for you, man.
yeah.
Let me know. I hope they sell a pill for that because I need to get off of it, man. If Michael gonna help me get off this, wean me off this, because I'm tired of y'all on social media, man. But good for you. But we'll just have you back. How about that? We'll have you back very soon. For those who did tune in to this episode of Monumental Moments, we appreciate you. Like we say every week and ask humbly, please like, please comment, please share, please tag a friend, please tag a foe, please tag anybody that you know. And while it might have just been a statement or a quote in passing, it's meaningful. We do not remember days. We remember moments. I would challenge every one of you, whether it be getting away from social media, whether it be engaging with someone of similar personalities and goals and ambitions. I would challenge everyone to focus on your moments and make the most of them. And that is how we're going to end this particular show. I am your boy, B Brown, ESQ. I didn't even finish the part. As we ask you every week, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know, and
Do
please
that.
subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. For that moment, it won't cost you anything, but you'd be doing a huge favor for us. And I think you'd be doing a huge favor for the people that you send it to, because they'll hear some good content of how sports, business, and entertainment collide. You know what it is. A few businessmen, me and the great Michael Young Jr., get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion, and we call it the Ball Hog Sports Talk. I am your boy, B. Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hog, aka the Mount South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration, aka Brazy, aka the Councilman. And with that, we is out.
Yes, sir.